All right, let's take a quick trip into the future. Picture this, it's the 2030s. All the pilot programs for universal basic income are done, the arguments are over, the debates have gone quiet. We're not asking if UBI works anymore. We're living inside the world that it built.
Yeah, you heard that right. The question isn't, should we do this anymore? It's, what has this done to us? So let's forget the theory. We're about to take a tour of how the entire world is structured now that UBI is its foundation.
I mean it. It's as baked into this new world as the internet was to ours. But, when you change something that fundamental, it doesn't just change how you pay your bills. It changes, well, everything. It rewrites the entire social contract. And to really get what life is like in the 2030s, you have to understand the four huge pillars that everything, and I mean everything, now rests on. These are the deep tectonic shifts that define this whole new era. So let's just walk through them one by one. And remember, these four shifts aren't just policies you'd read about online. Nope. They are the new rules of the game for society, for countries, and for you. Okay, the first shift. This one's a game changer. It's the end of mandatory work. For most people, that old 9-to-5 grind is just a memory. In its place, we have what's called the value economy. Your worth is no longer about your salary. It's measured by what you contribute. Are you an artist, a caregiver, a community organizer? That's your new currency. The old world, it was obsessed with just one thing. How much money did your job pay you? That was the scorecard. But now, the whole focus has flipped. It's about your impact, about who you're becoming as a person. It's a massive cultural pivot from what you earn to what you contribute. All right, let's zoom out to the global stage. Here's a twist. UBI didn't unite the world. It actually split it clean in two. We've now got what's called the bifurcated globe, basically a planet with two huge competing teams. And the divide is pretty clear. On one side, you've got the data-rich nations. Think the West, China. Their main export is brain power, AI systems, governance models, the whole UBI package. In return, they import all the raw materials they need. And on the other side, the resource-rich nations. They're the ones digging stuff out of the ground and building things. They power the physical world, and they import the AI they need to keep their edge. Two different worlds sharing one planet. Now, this new world order creates a really strange paradox when it comes to government. Since people aren't chained to a job in one city, their local community becomes more important than ever, so a lot of power flows down to the neighborhood level. But for the really big stuff, power has shot way, way up to the global level. You see this play out every day. Your local government is all about things you can touch and feel. Community centers, local culture, immediate needs. But the giant global issues, like allocating resources, or defense against climate change, or exploring space, that's all handled by these massive AI-driven systems. It's kind of like your life is very human on the small scale and very machine efficient on the large scale. So, the big question, how is all of this paid for? Well, that brings us to our fourth and honestly most personal shift. The answer is you, or to be more specific, your data. In this world, you're a data citizen. Your data isn't just something that companies quietly take from you anymore. It's your primary taxable asset. Here's how that cycle works. It's simple, really. 1, you just live your life, and everything you do creates a stream of data. 2, that data trail is automatically fed into a central system. 3, governments and corporations pay for access to all that data to run their AIs and plan their economies. And 4, you get your UBI payment. It's basically a dividend you get from the value your own data created. So yeah, there's the catch. There is a fundamental trade-off. To get the UBI, you have to give up your privacy. In the 2030s, being truly private, living off the data grid, that's become the ultimate luxury. It's something only the super elite, the people who can afford to turn down the UBI, can have. So you mix the creative freedom of the value economy with the tension of the split globe. You throw in that weird local and global government, and you fund the whole thing by turning us into data citizens. What you get is a world just packed with contradictions. On one hand, you have incredible freedom. On the other, you have constant passive surveillance. You have less stress about paying rent, but new, deep stress about global politics. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Leisure is guaranteed, but freedom may be conditional. Everyone's got the time and the money to follow their dreams. That's a guarantee.
but the system that guarantees it needs your data, your buy-in. So, is that actually freedom? Or is it more like a really comfortable, beautiful cage? And that really gets us to the whole point of this tour. The debate about whether to start UBI might be over in this future, but the debate over what it's cost us, that's just getting started. And here's the kicker. The choices that build this world, they're being made right now, as we speak. So let's turn these what-ifs into questions we need to start asking today. First one, when a big paycheck is no longer the main status symbol, who do we start admiring? Who are the new heroes? Is it the artist, the philosopher, the community gardener? What job gets the most respect when money's not the point? Next, think about that split planet. Where does real innovation happen? Do the most creative people flock to the safe, stable UBI block, where their basic needs are always met? Or do they head for the more chaotic, less controlled resource block, where the old rules might still give them an edge? Where would you go? Okay, now for the gut check question. Let's make this personal. To keep the system stable, what if your UBI was tied to a social credit score? You get total financial security for life, but in exchange, you have to follow certain behavioral rules. Would you take that deal? And let's think bigger. Does UBI create peace inside countries by getting rid of poverty, only to create a much bigger, much more dangerous conflict between the two global blocs? Do we basically trade civil unrest for the risk of global war? And finally, the most important question of all. What are we missing? What's the giant unforeseen consequence of this whole new social contract that nobody's talking about? What's the one thing that future historians will look back at and say, how on earth did they not see that coming? Because whatever that is, the debate for us, it needs to start right now.